Hi everybody, welcome back. It's me, World's Okayest Mechanic. I know it's been a while since I've seen you. I know I said we were coming back. I'm having to do this slowly because I kind of don't have room due to parking lot space. However, today we're just going to jump right in. Today I'm changing the spark plugs on my 2012 Ford Flex with the I think it's the 3.5. Let me double check that. Yeah, the 3.5 non-ecoboost. Give me just a second, I'll show you. This lovely little gem right here. It's basically, if my understanding is correct, it's essentially the same thing as the engine that the Granny Mobile had. It's just a very updated version. As you'll see, I have one coil already out. I left the spark plug in there. Yep, you can see the tip of it right there. Because I just wanted to make sure with the little bit that I have that I could get this job done. So without further ado, we're going to jump into it. First things first, we're going to get some of these hoses disconnected so we can get the airbox and intake tube out of the way, and then we'll get going from there. Okay. So it may be just out of camera shot, but the mass airflow sensor, I believe that's what that is. There is a little red locking tab on it. I need to pull that off. That's supposed to go over there. Pull that off. This one's real simple. You just slide that little gray thing over. If it doesn't just pull off, push it on there, holding pressure on that little gray release. And then I forgot what I was saying. And then you've got your throttle body connector right here. Trying to be careful not to break any of the locks that are on here. Let's see here. Oh. And then we can just pull this out. And I'm going to tuck it off over here for right now. And then undo the screw clamp back here. And it may take some persuasion. And then you undo your airbox lid. And that's got step one out. And then in typical car manufacturer fashion, there are some hidden secrets. Sorry. That bolt right there, it's actually part of a bracket that helps support the throttle body. So that way, under torque or anything like that, your intake doesn't flex and snap. So that is an 8mm. So let's grab that one out right quick. And as always, you want to take it easy with all these bolts, considering they do get very warm being in this today. Oh gosh, it's kind of hard to get my hand on it. Make sure you don't do like I just did and accidentally twist to go the wrong way. And then you always want to make sure that you catch bolts like that, because that could go a long way down and not hit the ground. So now I have had this car worked on shortly after I got it, so some of the clips and stuff are broken or are missing. This one is one of the ones you just push the tab. Actually, hang on, I'll show you the other end of it right quick. Ow, my hand hurts. Yeah, that one right there, you just push the tab and it should slide off. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this with me putting my hand in there, but we'll give it the old college try, as they say. Okay, cool. And be careful not to break this hose, not to break that line, because those are kind of lines and hoses and stuff like that are kind of hard to find sometimes. Okay, so now I know that one's got to come off. Oh, I know that's got to come off. I can probably wait and get that off after I get the intake busted loose and kind of maneuvered around, because I've got to get that one off as well, and I can't get to it the way it sits. Okay, so I don't know if you heard that hiss or not. I just took the connector off of the vacuum booster, off the brake booster. That's what this is. Same thing. Little push tab, and it slides right off. The hissing is perfectly normal. It's just the vacuum that's on the vacuum that the engine is holding on the brake booster, or the brake booster is holding. Still not entirely sure how that works completely. That's just that vacuum coming out. And then we'll pull this out. Okay, and we can just hold that one out of the way. And then, like I was saying earlier, this one has had some work done previously, so a lot of these Christmas trees are inoperable or just straight up worn out. So we've got that out, we've got all of that out of the way. Got that bracket undone. The only thing left really is, if I can get my camera to point the right way, is this thing, that hose, and then I've got this little bracket right here. So let's get all those out of the way right quick. And this little bolt is also an 8. And it is very coarse thread, as you can see. So what I'm gonna do is move this. I think that's the fuel line. I'm gonna move it off to the side. Yeah, that is the fuel line. Move it off to the side and run it back down into it a little bit, just so it doesn't get lost. And now I'm gonna start from the middle and just crack all these loose. There's 2. There's bolt number 3. Bolt number 4. Ow. Bolt number 5 is hidden by my hand apparently. And then bolt number 6 is right here. 2 of these are hidden under this this big giant wire loom. And then we should be able to just run them all the way out by hand. Now this one is going to be a really long one. I think the rest of them are going to be the same length. I do apologize if you hear people yelling in the background. Okay, so now that all the bolts are out, I do believe. Yep. Okay, cool. So now that all the bolts are out, whenever you come up with this, always be careful, go slow, just to make sure you catch anything that you might have missed, because that's how I'm gonna do it, because I have a habit of missing the occasional plug-in, the occasional electrical plug or something like that. But I'm gonna set this up and start pulling this intake up. And I guess that hose on the back really didn't have to come off because it just slid off of the PCV valve. I think that's supposed to hold on a little better, but I'm not 100% for sure. But it looks like the last person that was in here kind of messed up. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that plug-in is broke. None of them have the little red locking tabs like these guys do. Also, these were left not pushed in. So I'm gonna slowly, well, that's not good. I'll have to figure out how to get that one to stay on and see if this one will come out with the lock tab. There it goes. Okay, so on those, all of those are going to be the same as all of these, so I'm going to show you because these are complete. On these red lock tabs, be very careful because they will break, and then it's no fun when they break and they're pushed in, because then you got to get a pick or something and get in that little square right there and try to fish them out, and it's just not fun for anybody. Now, normally I would cover this up with something, but I'm an idiot and didn't plan ahead, so I don't have anything to cover it up with. So right now I'm gonna pull these the back 3 coil packs out, and to do that I'm gonna set y'all down. I'm gonna try to get you a decent angle. Alright, and if your coil packs don't just pop out like that, you can take a screwdriver and kind of wedge it in these and get it kind of off in there or on there, somewhere in that area. And you can pry up against the valve cover, since the valve covers are metal. Just don't use excessive force, because if you have to use excessive force, something is wrong. Now, to remove the spark plugs, I'm having to go a little unorthodox here and use my 1/2-inch ratchet because I can't seem to find my 3/8 extensions. So I could just use my 3/8 ratchet. Now, normally they would be this height, but I'm not trying to use a whole. I'm not trying to use like heat strength. So I am. It does look like I'm struggling a little bit, but that's because I'm trying to be gentle with it. So we'll get these screwed out all the way, and we're just gonna use the coil packs to pull them out. If I can get my camera to focus here, there we go. See, those, they don't look terrible, but that is a lot of gap. So it was definitely time. It was definitely time for a change. And I don't know if you can see, but that one looks like it has a little bit of oil or raw fuel on it up on the threads, which I don't think the fuel should get up that far, so it's probably just oil. And then here's this one, which also happens to have a pretty big gap. The threads on this one are actually fairly clean. So now let's get the new plugs and get them started to go in. All right, so we are back. I have here some Bosch double platinums. Part number for you, I guess. Here, I'll spin this kind of slow. Maybe you can read that. Oh, geez, if I can get my arm to quit moving. I know on a Ford everybody says you should go with Ford parts. However, I've never had an issue running Bosch plugs, so that's what we're going to go in with. Plus, I got these on a heck of a deal. Normally, I don't recommend just dropping your plugs in like this, but considering I don't have the proper extensions to actually use my my spark plug socket, that's my method of insertion. Now I am going to do all of this a little out of order. I'm going to get these back 3 plugs put in, get the coils put on, and get the intake put back on, and then I'll knock out the front 3, just because they are super easy to get to. And yes, there is a torque spec number for the spark plugs. However, I don't have a torque wrench, nor do I know the torque spec number. So I'm rolling with this. I've never had a problem just getting them hand tight and then snugging them up a little bit. I am gonna have to zip tie that one. I will probably just do that one off camera after I get everything bolted down. So you don't have to watch all of that boring stuff. Also, I do want to apologize if some of the audio sounds better than other parts, because I am moving around a little bit, and I'm not moving my mic every time that I move. So, now it's time to zip tie that plug in on this one, and I'll show you why. Because there is no little clip on it anymore, because whoever was in here and messed with it last probably broke it. So I'm going to get that knocked out, and then we'll be back.